Shalom and welcome back to Israel Chronicles, where we walk through the land of Israel and uncover the stories beneath the stones. Today, we're stepping into a powerful chapter in the history of this land. A time of deep change, of glory and loss. When Rome tried to erase Judea from the face of history, but something new began to rise. After the Bar Kokhba Revolt in 135-136 AD ended, Emperor Hadrian didn't just want to suppress a rebellion. He wanted to erase the identity of this land. He renamed Judea to Syria Palestina, borrowing the name from the ancient enemies of Israel, the Philistines. There is no connection between the modern Palestinians today and the ancient Philistines, since they were from a Greek origin and were completely wiped out by the Babylonians. However, this was a way to disconnect the Jewish people from their own homeland. He rebuilt Jerusalem as a Roman pagan city, named it Aelia Capitolina. He banned Jews from living there. They were only allowed to come once a year during the 9th day of the month of Av to mourn for the destruction of the temple. But Jewish life continued, especially in the Galilee and in the Golan Heights. In towns like Tzipori, Tiberias, and Katzrin, Jewish communities thrived, and the synagogues were central to their life. In fact, many of the synagogues built during the Byzantine period are standing on the foundation of synagogues from the time of Jesus. Take Capernaum, for example, the town where Jesus taught in the synagogue. You can still see today the black basalt foundation of his time, and above it, the grand white limestone synagogue from later centuries. During the 1st to the 4th century AD, Christians were viewed as a strange sect of Jews in the eyes of the Roman Empire. They were heavily persecuted, as we know from the letters of John, especially under Emperor Domitian at the end of the 1st century AD. This all came to a big change around the year 312-313 AD, where Emperor Constantine the Great had a vision. And in that vision, he saw a cross coming down from the sky where the writing says on it, "With this you shall win." According to tradition, he painted that cross on the back of his soldiers and won an amazing battle. After Constantine the Great, we have the Nicaea Creed, which was dated to 324 AD and was taken in the town of Nicaea, deep in the Turkish or Asia Minor heartland. The Nicaea Creed was one of many. There were many church conventions that basically formed Christianity as we know it today. If it's, of course, the Nicaea Creed, if it's the Chalcedon Creed, even the Synod and the convention in Laodicea, deep into the 5th century AD. During this time, the entire Middle East was hustling and bustling in the formation of this new religion called Christianity. In the 4th century AD, the population of the land was estimated between 1 to 1.5 million people. This was a time of urban splendor, a flourishing period under Byzantine Christian rule. Cities like Bet She'an were glowing with life, bustling marketplaces, grand colonnaded streets, massive theaters and bathhouses. Caesarea Maritima, the coastal jewel built by Herod during the 1st century BC, had become a center of administration, culture, and Christian pilgrimage. And Jerusalem, the crown jewel, now filled with churches, monasteries, and thousands of Christian pilgrims coming from across the entire Roman Empire. We even have a beautiful visual witness of this era, the Medaba map. This 6th century AD mosaic, founded in a church in Jordan, is the earliest known map of the Holy Land. It is a center to understand the life in Israel. In the center of the map is the holy city of Jerusalem, with the Church of the Holy Sepulchre depicted in grand details. It shows us how central this land had become to the Christian world. Christianity had become the dominant faith in the Roman Empire. Emperors like Justinian I invested heavily in churches, monasteries, and empresses such as Eudokia constructed amazing churches such as the Church of the Pearl of Bethesda and the Pearl of Siloam, and many more. This was the first time in 1,300 years that Jews became the minority in the land. Minority, but not gone. At the same time, Jewish communities were still active and very vibrant in the Galilee and the Golan Heights. Some of the most beautiful Byzantine-era synagogues were built during that time. In places like Bar in the Upper Galilee, Chorazin in the Golan Heights, and Hamat in Tiberias. They were decorated with carvings of menorahs, shofars, grapevines, and sometimes even zodiac symbols, blending Jewish tradition with local art style. But then the splendor began to fade. In 541 AD, the plague of Justinian swept across the land, which is the early Black Plague. It devastated cities and rural villages alike. It estimated that the population may have dropped by half or more. Falling below 700,000 people, trade routes slowed down. Fields were abandoned, and some cities never fully recovered. And just as the land was weakened, a new force began to rise. Not far away, in the Arabian Peninsula, there a man named Muhammad began preaching a new message. He claimed to receive revelation from God, and over time, this became the foundation of Islam. Within a few decades, Islam became a powerful religious and political movement. And the timing could not have been more significant. The Byzantine Empire in the west and the Sassan Empire in the east had just finished a long and brutal series of wars. Both sides were exhausted, their armies depleted, their people suffering, and the borders vulnerable. Into this vacuum stepped the Muslim armies, energized, united, and fast-moving. In 638 AD, Muslim forces entered Jerusalem from the Arab Peninsula. And with that, the land of Israel entered a new era, the era of Islamic rule. But even in this tension, the layers of history remain. Roman roads, Byzantine mosaic, ancient synagogues, and Islamic domes are still visible and telling the story of this land. Empires rise and fall, but God's story continues. And that is what we're here to discover together. Thank you so much for joining me on this another episode of Israel Chronicles. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments below. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel.